Welcome back to Create and Hustle, the show where we like to ask creatives, how did you take your idea, turn it into a business? And we are joined once again by Ebony, the trap therapist. Did I get that correct? Ebony
Yep.
Jae, the
Yep.
trap therapist. I want to welcome you back to Create and Hustle, the show where we like to ask people, how did you take your idea and turn it into a business? So thank you for coming and joining me again.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me again.
No problem. So since the last time we spoke, I think it was early 2022. You were
hmm
telling us about the services that you provide, the mental health services, and all the things that you have going on with that. So I just first kind of wanted to get an update as to all the things you have going on currently.
Well, first off, thanks to you, my daughter thinks I'm TikTok famous because she found you had posted a snippet and she found it. I was like, how? She's like, you're on TikTok, and I'm like, what? How? Because I don't really be doing it or whatever. And she showed me. So thanks for making me famous in my daughter's eyes.
Yes, yes, no problem, no problem.
Well, we've expanded a lot. We have last time when I talked to you, we had just the therapy services, but we also have added case management to it. So we have been able to basically do like a wraparound service. So we have just a lot more support for people in our communities. So yeah, that's pretty much it on that. It's a lot, but that's
Okay.
it.
Okay. And speaking on like, you expanded and, now you're taking on a little bit more cases. I wanted to talk to you about like the uptick in violence that we're seeing in America. Some people say it's because now cameras are more prevalent. Some people are just saying like maybe the effects of the pandemic is happening. So like
Mhm.
from the people that you're speaking to, the clients that you have, like, is it the effects of the pandemic that are people are really coming out and saying like I really struggle with that we're now seeing fights on planes, people fighting at concerts and things like that? Like, what do you have to say about that?
I think that has always been there. I think it's been more normalized with the pandemic just because people have more opportunities to reach bigger audience, but it's always been there. If you think about before, it was like they talk about school shootings. Okay, so that's been the thing for a while. But before that, we had things like postal workers. They would go in and, shoot up the post office and stuff like that. So it's been stuff that's been here. I think now though it's more we have more outlets, we have more support, but we also have more access to things. So a lot of times when we could unplug or you could go home and remove yourself from some of the things sometimes, or if it stuff was happening at home, you could go to work or you could go to school. Of course, during the pandemic, we didn't have that option, first off. And then, second, now it's still kind of a little bit different. And now everybody knows about it. And then, of course, having the social media area, people aren't unplugging enough like they should. People aren't getting back to being in person with people. So I think, excuse me, I think that that's more of it than anything else more than the pandemic. And plus, we have words for it now. We have vocabulary, we have language. So once you're aware of that, now you can kind of say, I'm hurting in this capacity, or this is what I feel like, or different things like that. Before, when it wasn't normalized, and we had to hide it and suppress it. So now that it's more open, but people don't know what to do with it. So more people are aware of mental health support or mental health issues, but they still not necessarily coming and get the help that they need.
We're on Great and Hustle with Ebony Jae, the trap therapist, and she's here talking about mental health and all the things that come along with that. um what advice would you give to someone who is struggling to set boundaries with friends? And I want to say that because it comes from like it comes from the violence that we're seeing, like a lot of it be friends killing friends or kids
Yeah.
killing kids. Like it's real personal these days when it comes like, so when it comes to setting boundaries, like what advice, tips could you give to somebody who just really struggles with telling people how to treat them, how to manage them, and things like that?
Yeah, that's a tough place. And I think that everybody struggles with that at some point in their lives, even me as a therapist, as a
Especially with social
professional.
media.
Absolutely. Yeah, I struggle with setting boundaries too sometimes, but it's one of those things. It's gonna be, I know it's about to sound like kind of cliche, but it's just something that you have to do. if you think about every time, so I'm actually in Jamaica right now, and so this is what is fresh on my brain. We were playing yesterday. Every time you get on in any plane that I've ever been on, they always tell you on every single plane to put on your mask first and then help the other people. And so I think when we start having those type of mindset and not think that it's selfish, that's all boundaries is. Boundaries is protecting yourself. Boundaries is protecting your peace, protecting your mental. So in a nutshell, just do it. You just have to do what's best for you. When something's not working for you, it doesn't make sense to continue in that vein. So when those people around you, or even like I said with social media, disconnected from that, even if it's just temporary, will give you so much energy, so much power, so much mental space. If you're just doing it all the time, then your brain is just overloaded. So when you start doing those type of things, and then sometimes it's just really a matter of a conversation. I don't know why. Well, I guess we've been conditioned not to speak up for ourselves, and if we do, we got to aggressively do it, and that doesn't help. So you shouldn't be in relationship with somebody you feel that you can't come to them and tell them I don't like this or that makes me feel bad when you do XYZ. Those are not people you really want to be in a relationship with anyway. And of course, again, easier said than done because that could be family and stuff like that. But at some point, you got to get to it. Like either I'm going to take care of myself to be able to help other people or be what I need to be for other people, or I'm not. And my body's going to shut down, my mental is going to shut down, or I'm going to start flipping out and creating this violence. So you have to choose which one you actually want to do.
And it's funny that you said family with that too. What's your perspective on people who you do go to in your time of need when you do need somebody to talk to, and then you get in your better space and then they use it back against you. They throw all the things, they were there for you, I was there for you when you didn't have no one else to speak to you. How would someone deal with someone who does that type of thing? And is that healthy to keep them around even though they did help you in your time of need? Does it benefit you to keep them around after that point?
Um, I mean, that's a kind of individual answer. I can't really say that it is
Got
beneficial
you.
to keep them around or not. But what I can say, and of course, again, more cliche stuff, but those are the things that people should be going to therapists to talk about. A lot of times people think that you just go to therapy when your world is turned upside down or when you're crazy or different things like that. And that's not the case. If you go to a therapist can help you navigate those relationships. And they can help you make the decision whether it's beneficial for that person to be around or not. Or for me, what I teach my clients is how to relationship different. So what that means is that, of course, let's just say it's my mom or my dad, and they are toxic, and they're just not good for me. More than likely, I'm not going to cut them off if they're not, doing something to actually like physically harm. If it's not like super
Mhm.
super harmful. But some of their thought processes could be harmful to me, or like you said, them throwing stuff back up to me. So I teach my clients how to continue those relationships, but again, setting those boundaries and
Setting
within reason.
boundaries.
So yeah, so for example, if my let's just say if my dad is some type of a person that throws stuff back in my face, and my dad's not a person that I could go to, but maybe my dad is good for barbecuing, so I could go over his house, kick it with him, eat barbecue, we talk lightly, and then I find somebody else for that position. We like to think that because people are whatever relationship they are to us or whatever category, that that's what they are supposed to be to us, but that's not true. People are parents because they have sex. They're not parents because they're good
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah, I always
People
say that
are,
parents are just people who had kids just trying to figure it out. Like, yeah.
exactly, exactly. So even though your mother should be X, Y, and Z, maybe she doesn't have the tools to do it. Or people will say, oh, well, he's, 25 or he's 50, he should know better. And it's like, how? Why? How
How
would
if
they
you
know if
never was
nobody
taught?
ever taught them?
Yeah.
Exactly. So sometimes we have to make those decisions and those choices to see where those people fit in our lives. And just because they have a title, don't mean that that's who we can count on in that way.
I'm sitting here with Ebony Jae, the trap therapist, and one of the last questions that I have for you is like, and I'm speaking like personally from this, like, because I even took a break from doing this show for about almost a year, and I was,
Hmm.
hit a hard time, couldn't even have the strength to do this. Like, what what advice would you give to someone who is probably at rock bottom, who may have hit rock bottom, and is trying to claw their way back up? to get back to self, to do the things that they love to do? Like, what steps would you recommend?
Well, first, I'm glad you're back. Sometimes
Thank
when
you.
we life hits us, and the first thing we would do sometimes is walk away from our passion or the things that's probably will help us get to the next level. So I'm glad that you were able to, figure it out. Again, there's nothing wrong with taking a break, but I'm just happy you're back. And I would just say that first off, we have to sometimes figure out what we're looking for. Sometimes we're unfulfilled because we don't even know what we're trying to like the goals we're trying to reach. So setting goals is something. So if you feel like you're at rock bottom, depending on where you want to get to. And again, if you're not able to navigate through that, then there's nothing wrong for you to go to a therapist. Or I have a love-hate relationship with life coaches, but there are some great ones out there. So even somebody like that, if you want to. And again, therapy is not for crazy people. As a therapist, as a business owner, as a professional and all of these other things, I see a therapist on a regular basis because life happens to me too. And we are not as strong as we think we are. We're still human.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
indestructible, and things are still going to happen to us. So there is nothing wrong with going to a therapist. And you can tell a therapist like, hey, listen, I don't even know why I'm here. I know that I don't feel good. I don't feel right. My heart is hurting or whatever the case is, and I need some help to get to the next step. Again, it's very hard to give like to answer your question fully. I know I'm kind of going around in circles, but it's just because it's individualized. I can't tell you to do this because you might not be ready yet, or you might don't know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? So for me to do that, when you go to therapy, your therapist should be learning about you and learning your skills and learning your capabilities. So it becomes, you know, individualized versus me just telling you basic. But if I was going to give you some basic things, surround yourself with some people who are loving and who is willing to and able and has the capacity to pour into you. Doing things like that is um, going to be one of the steps, for you to do. And then second, like I said, just kind of figuring out where you want to go. Like even if it's just one day or one step, like, okay, today I'm going to make up my bed today. Those things when you are, just making any type of positive contributions will
Hmm.
help you tremendously. One of the things me and my daughter do all the time is we do affirmations almost daily. So even doing those type of things, speaking life over yourself, speaking positivity over yourself is, even some good things to just start to get you from that rock bottom place.
Thank you, Ebony. I really appreciate you coming here. Once again, can you let the people know the name of your nonprofit, the services that you offer, where you're located, and where they can find you online?
Okay, so the name of my nonprofit is called Endure Course Inc. And you can find me on social media at underscore ETCINC or either Ebony, EBONY underscore J. And I'm a licensed therapist in Ohio and in Georgia. So if you are looking for services and you live in one of those two states, you can reach out to me and I provide psychotherapy. I personally specialize in healthy relationships, parenting, and grief. But that doesn't mean that I can't do other things, but that's just my specialty. So if you're in any of those, either one of those two states, feel free to reach out to me.
You guys heard it first here on Create a Hustle, where we like to ask people, how did you take your idea and turn it into a business? Ebony Jae, thank you again for joining me. People, go out there and support her. Go check her out online if you're in those states that she provides. And once again, Ebony, thank you so much for being my first guest. Again, when I came back, this is very fitting for the situation.
Yes, thank you for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.